Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. We're presented by the Navy Federal Credit Union. Time to shine the light now on Navy Women's Lacrosse. Navy Women's Lacrosse team hitting a really good stride right now. Great action coming up with nationally ranked Jacksonville coming to town on Thursday afternoon. Pleased to be joined by defender Grace Peterson. And right away, let's get to know you a little bit first before we even talk about lacrosse. State of Minnesota presents so many great options. You played an array of sports, certainly in high school before you got here. If not lacrosse, what would it have been for you athletically?
Yeah, growing up in Minnesota, I was big into ice hockey. So I kind of growing up, I always thought ice hockey was my path until I got to high school. But it definitely was something on the back of my mind before deciding to come here. But I think it just made me a better athlete all around. And then a lot of it kind of translated to the lacrosse field as well when I decided to go the lacrosse path instead.
No doubt about that. Two sports share a lot in common. How does one take up lacrosse? The state of Minnesota has been great to Navy lacrosse in the past. How does one find lacrosse in the state of Minnesota, though?
Yeah, it's still small out there. I actually didn't get to join until later into middle school because of that, but it was a lot of coming out to the East Coast, trying to get coaches to come find me. Luckily, found Coach Tim Chall and got the attention, but it definitely had to put in a lot more work in other sports too to kind of make up for the lack of lacrosse out there.
We talk about it all the time. There's so much specialty in sports, but when you think about what you play with ice hockey, with tennis, with lacrosse, just all those three sports combined, how did they help you become a great athlete, period?
Yeah, I think what helped is they're all very different in their ways, and I think it helped so I didn't get burnt out. I got to kind of have it all on the ice, on the field, on the court. Kind of got to switch it up. It helped prevent injuries in high school too, especially. But it just made me appreciate each game for being different. Tennis is more individual. Ice hockey, it's more fast-paced, less girls. But then lacrosse kind of brings everything together on a full field and brings more of that team dynamic in. So I think they all taught me little things along the way and kind of just helped me develop as an all-around great athlete and not just, someone that can play lacrosse well.
You led me into my next question. The individuality that tennis has. I talk about this with people all the time. There's no timeouts there. There's no, hey, give me a sub. I'll come back in later on in the set and try to finish this thing out. But how does that singular sport help you, especially mentally, as an athlete, and then obviously translate that into helping you in team sports as well?
Yeah, I was just about to bring up the mental piece. I think it helped me become a lot more mentally tough. Obviously, in tennis, there's no one really besides you to cheer you up. You kind of got to make sure you're mentally strong and find ways to hype yourself up. So I think going into a team sport, like even if I'm not having the best game, like knowing that my teammates will be there for me. But again, pulling back those mental lessons that I learned playing tennis and knowing that I can do this next play, especially in tennis where it's like one bad point, you just move on. So I think that next play mentality also helped. And that a lot of that comes from tennis.
If there was one thing that you could bring from Minnesota to King Hall that's not there, food wise, both entree and side, what would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. We have this thing called tater tot hot dish. You guys might call it casserole out here, but it's definitely a Minnesota staple out there that I grew up enjoying. And then side dish. That's a tough one.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite? I'd say this. What's your favorite side that's not in King Hall?
Sweet potatoes. I feel like we don't get enough of those. I'll have them like once a month, but definitely had a bunch out home. So, yeah.
Who are the people that help shape you, athletically, but also academically? Because let's face it, you can't arrive at the Naval Academy without some academic chops as well.
Mm-hmm. I think growing up, my parents, I was a first child, so they definitely pushed me really hard, and they knew I had potential. They wanted to see the best out of me, so they kind of set the standard high. But we're always there to help me through. I think what really drew me to the academy was the academics here as well as the athletics. But I think just having my parents' support the entire way really pushed me to be the person that I wanted to be and kind of led me to this path.
16 ground balls, 7 caused turnovers so far. This is a sport that is not very kind to defenders, as you probably know by now. But what's the key to succeeding as a defender? Because having watched this sport now for so long, the talent in this sport, the quality of the athlete that plays it is better than ever before. And it puts so much pressure on defenders. What's the key to surviving as a defender in this game now?
I think right now it goes down to just playing great team defense. All of us individually are great athletes. We can play good 1v1 defense, play well, but it's when we all play together that our team does the best and our unit works best. So I think it's just learning how to talk, communicate with each other, have each other's backs no matter what. It's when we play the best, and it's when we that's what causes turnovers, is when you're playing great team D. What's so great about defense is you can't do it alone. So it really does take a village and everyone out there to kind of contribute. And that's what I love about D so much. It's not just a one-person game. It's a team position. So
no doubt about that. Choppy at the start of this season, but you guys really seem to finally be hitting your stride as a group. It's been the key to that. I wouldn't say turnaround, because that's not really the fair word, but the fact that you all are finding the consistency and getting closer to that right now.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the season, it's just we haven't really been playing together for a long time. We lost 3 of our starting defenders last year, and coming off injury, hadn't really gotten all the reps together that we probably needed before the season. A lot of turnovers who was playing. So I think now that we've kind of found that consistency, we kind of know what each other are going to do before we even do it. And I think it's just like the communication is up. We're working more as a unit than we were at the beginning of the season. And it's really exciting to see how much we've improved as the year's gone on, and hopefully just keep getting better from here.
Mids will be playing the nationally ranked Jacksonville Dolphins coming up on Thursday at 3:00 on ESPN+. We'll have the call for you coming up on Thursday afternoon. Great. Appreciate the time today. Best of luck to you and your teammates, not only Thursday, but with the rest of the season as well. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you for having me.